Alright, in the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, one God, Amen. Today we continue the topic about second canonical books. Firstly, I need to check how did you go last time. Did you still remember what we asked last time or not? Number one, we said how many books in our Bible? How many books? 66 plus the second canonical books. So it's going to be how many all? 73 books. Very good. So how many books in First Canonical? 66. How many in the Old Testament? 39 Old Testament. Very good. How many in New Testament? 27. Very good in mathematics. Okay, very good. So who's the most right books in our Bible? The most person wrote. Sample, how many he wrote? 14. So he wrote 14 epistles, the more than double of New Testament. So imagine one person, he wrote the more than half of the New Testament. New Testament 27, he wrote 14. Okay? How many people wrote our Bible? All this one, always you need to write it down because 47. I don't want you to read, I want to hear from here. Close your book. Alright, 47. Vicky, close your book here, Vicky, don't say. Okay, good. Alright, 47 people, they wrote our Bible. If we said St. Paul, he wrote 14, St. Samita. If we said St. John, he wrote 1, 2, and another 3, 5. All these ones they collected, they found 47 writers, they wrote our Bible. How many years took them to write the Bible? Yes. What? Yes, 1,600 years take them to write the Bible. If we said Book of Luke 2 years, Book of John 1 year, they calculate all these ones, they found 1,600 years they wrote all the Bible. How many verses in our Bible? How many verses in our Bible? Guys, you need to study. 33,000. 33,000. So we got 47 writers. We got 1,600 years they take them to write. We got 33,000 verses. How many, maybe one more, one less, about how many chapters we have in our Bible? That's all the last second canonical books. Chapter. Very close. 1,335 chapters. 1,335 chapters. So this is about 5 number I want you to remember. 73 books, 1,600 years, 33,000 verses, 1,335 chapters, 47 writers. Okay. Anyone here remembers the name of the second canonical books? Guys, please, I don't want anyone playing his phone. That would vibrate or switch it off. We are in the church. We need to respect our church. Yes. Book of Tobit, that's number 1, and we finished it last week. What else? Book of Judith, number 2. Jesus, son of Sirach, number 3. It's 9. Hurry up, what's happening? You are a servant. First Maccabees, second Maccabees, that's 2. Wisdom of Solomon, yes. We can see the people who study, what happened to you, Vicky? You can apply this year. You want to repeat your pre-servant? You want your brother before you? What else? Compilation compilation of Esther and compilation of Daniel. One more. Book of Baruch. So 9 books. Okay, 9 books. Did anyone read Book of Tobit last month? Okay, who reads the Book of Tobit? Okay, you did. One only person from the servant. By the way, that's in the program of Sunday school. If you're not reading now, and in next week, week number 6 in our Great Lent, the church must read these full books before Abuna do the Mass in Friday. In Friday, week number 6, Abuna has to read all these books. So imagine the kids come ask you why we read this book or what was this book about, and you have no idea. Servant, very important your knowledge. Today we celebrate the departure of our Holiness Pope Shinoda. He told us in Theological College, he said he never sleeps before he reads something new and adds new knowledge to his life. What was his aim? He said, the servant works hard, people have rest. But if the servant have rest, people will have hard time. بالعربي بيقول ايه؟ يتعب الخادم يرتاح الشعب. يرتاح الخادم هيتعب الشعب. All of us, we love him. This guy, he changed the history of the Coptic Church. 40 years and 4 months and some days, couple of days, he changed the history of Coptic Church. We are lucky to be in his time. There is no house they not have his faith, no house they have no picture for him, no house they didn't learn about his sermon or his book. He dedicated all his life, dedicated to one thing, the Coptic Church. And until last minute in his life he was serving. Everyone he saw maybe the sermon last week, 15 minutes, he was dying, but he is still serving. He never can be forgotten because the servant he wrote books, the servant he gave sermon, the servant he honest, we will never forget him. It was very hard for us the first time, maybe some of you never hear any another Pope, only Pope Shinoda. First time for us in the Mass, we not mention his name. And even when we say the Pope fast, we will not mention his name anymore. And when Abuna says the absolution, we will not mention his name anymore. Abuna, he pray God to choose the right shepherd for us. Okay? So from today, after 40 years, you're not going to hear his name in the Mass. Very touch for us. Some people was crying, but we cried because we're missing him. But someone like this is in heaven. Okay? So that's our teacher. I was very lucky he teach me for 3 years. I'm lucky he signed my certificate, my degree. He's the one, he signed my degree with Coptic language. He was teaching us 4 days a week, like full time. 5 years I was with him every week. It was a beautiful time in our life. We learned a lot from him. But one thing he never forget, this person, he was an honest servant. That's why God, he rewarded him the crown of heaven. Okay? So very important. Servant, you need your knowledge, plus you need your spirituality. You're not going to feed the kids if you not have enough knowledge. What you going to teach them? You teach them from newspaper? Definitely not. Someone can ask you what second clinical books, what these people talk about, or what this or that. What you can answer him? Okay? The knowledge now is everywhere. The kids now, if they want to search for anything, they will search. They can have more information more than you. If you don't know what you're talking about, they will know. You embarrass yourself. Okay? Especially with high school. You have to be very careful. You need to educate yourself before you educate them. That's right? You need to be spiritual first before you teach them. Because they cannot ask you, what I do with this sin, what I do with this temptation, what I do with this. You have to have the enough knowledge and the experience with the spiritual life to can lead someone in spiritual life. Because very serious our job. If you are a doctor and you make mistake and the person die, he got big chance to go to heaven if he is a spiritual person. But if you are a servant and you make mistake and this guy die in his sin, there's no another chance. God will ask his blood from your hand. Will not scare you. In another side, the faithful servant, the honest servant, God rewards them in the heaven. Okay? Today we talk about second book in second canonical books, the book of Judith. Number one, we need to learn what the meaning of her name. Judith, that means Jewish or Yahudiya. That's her name. By the way, her feast, until now in Jerusalem, they celebrate her feast. They take one day public holiday in her commemoration. And I tell you why in the end. Who wrote this book? A lot of the scholars were confused. They said, she wrote it herself, and some people, they said, the priest in that time, his name Joachim, the one he wrote this book. Which language they use to write in this book? The Hebrew language. When this book been written? 200 before Christ. I will give you the books in the end to keep it for yourself. How we consider this book as a canonical book? What mean as a canonical? We allow it to teach it in the church, we allow it to use in our sermon, we allow it to use in our writing. Number one, he used as a canonical Saint Jerome or Irenaeus. His name is Saint Jerome. He's a disciple of Saint Gregory, one of the popes. In that time, Saint Gregory, they said, a theologian. Another one he used it, Saint Augustine, he was talking about here, and Saint Jerome, if you read some books of Saint Jerome or have a look to Nicene and post-Nicene or anti-Nicene encyclopedia, he has a big chapter, he talks about the widow in the Bible. He writes about her big chapter about she as a widow, but she was a widow and they saved her people. And you find in the end of the chapter of this book, I write a similar chapter about the widow in our Bible and how we consider our widow in our church. So Saint Jerome, he wrote about here. Saint Augustine wrote about here. First Council of the Church Nicene, the Council 19, he decided and said this book as a canonical book we need to write in our book. But unfortunately until now, as a Catholic Church, this book never been read in our church in any sermon or any like Passion Week or all the stuff. Number two, this book wasn't in Sunday school program. Now we start to put in Sunday school program. Thank God. Third one, a lot of people preaching or teaching in the church, they have no idea about second canonical books. Why? Because the church went through hell during the Islam when they come to Egypt, the 6th and 7th century. All was talking about persecution. So these books, they were nearly forgotten in that time. And until now, a lot of people in our church, they have no idea about what second canonical books. That's why when I was in Theological College, we have assignment about Book of Tobit to look for any writer in any of the second canonical books we can find. We cannot find. I have to search, even the Arabic was written like the Quran, to get a copy written nice in Book of Tobit, the Arabic one, I have to get someone to type and new typing to be like normal typing. To write explanation of Book of Tobit, I cannot find any books. Even when I went to Quran, I can't find. We only import a small book from America and very small. So I used to search. I have at home Nicene and post-Nicene and anti-Nicene. It's about 80 volumes, all big one, to search about anything written about Tobit until I collect it and I make it the book. And maybe with first book in the history of the church, written by English. Even I give you a copy, this is the Keraza English. Remember the Keraza English? Some of you maybe they hear about it. They wrote about the Book of Tobit. I will give you a copy about this. In that time maybe I was first one to write about this second canonical books. And thank God now I finished all the 9, take about 20 years to finish these 9 books. So you have to have aim to do something no one done it before, but to serve the rest of the church. So Book of Judith, we done a new program in Sunday school in St. George, Kensington. We include Book of Judith in our Sunday school program. So we need to educate people what's a Book of Judith. Why it's important for us. Okay, so we know these canonical books. What's the story about Judith and what we learn from here? Number one, the story. Nebuchadnezzar was a king. He went to occupy all the surrounding land. He come close to Jerusalem. They sent him a letter first. They told him, give me your land in peace, I will let you live. I will take the strong people in my land to work as a servant for us, but at least you not can get killed. But if you not gonna listen, we can do like similar countries. They take over, they killed everyone, they occupy the country. So the Jewish, they hear the news, they was very scared. So the priests, they said, we're not going to give our land. We have to put our people to protecting the surrounding fences and we protect our land. So this king gets very angry because he's very arrogant, led by devil, definitely. He called the most vicious leader in his army and told him, go and I won't kill all these people. So this camp from Babylon come and the surrounding all Jerusalem. When the leader was walking around the city, he found the main spring to bring water inside the city was outside the fence. So technically what they done, they cut the water to go inside so these people cannot drink. This land is in summer, it's a hot weather. The reserve water was inside was enough for 20 days. So the more the water tank go less, the more people is scared and they start to whinge. The more the water gets less, the 20 days nearly finish, people get worried and angry. So they come to the priest and told him, better for us, we let this person and these people take our country than we see our family and the kids die in front of us. So what happened? So the people decide, they said, we give God 5 days. If he not gonna save our country, we give away our country to these people. In that time, first time we hear about Judith, Judith was in chapter 8. What's the story about Judith? Judith, she's very rich, very pretty. Her husband died young, so she dedicated her life for God. She have upper room, she every day pray and fast, and only in the feast she can eat normal food, not the fasting food. She hears these people giving God time. When the people told God, only we give you 5 days to work, if you're not going to save us, we're going to give away the country, she was very angry, she come down. And she told them, who are you, the people, to give God time to work? Do you think he can tell God what he has to do? Everything in God's hand, he can do whatever, he sees everything. And this is very important to learn a small lesson from here. Because a lot of people, they want to tempt God. They take the verse like when the verse says, tempt me on the tithe or something else, or ashuru garabuni. It's very important. You tempt God for wasiyah, don't tempt God for khatiyah. Because what the people said, I go this bad place, if God he wants to protect me, he protect me. Or I do this sin and God will save me. Or maybe God, he said, the best time of your life, I will take you in the best time of your life. One guy, there's a true story in Egypt, he was taking drugs. And people was warning him. He said, no, God, he never takes someone unless he is the best time in his life. When I take drugs, that's not the best time. Unfortunately, this guy took overdose drugs and he died. You cannot tempt God for khatiyah, only tempt God for wasiyah. You understand? Very important. So when she found these people try to tempt God, she told them, hold on, who are you to tempt God? Let me go back to my upper room. I need to pray, and I will ask what God he wants you to do. She tells him, I'm going to pray. She starts to pray, and she comes at night. She said, God give me a plan, I will do, but don't ask me what this plan. In another side, the king, he was asking why these people is stubborn, why these people didn't do that in another country. One of his army, his name Ahiyur, he told them, because these people they got very strong, and they started explaining them the history of Jewish when they come out of Egypt and God divides the Red Sea for them and this. The king, he told them, why you care about these people so much? If you love these people, go to them. He threw them to the camp of Israelites, and they told him, when I kill these people, I will kill you with them. So the Israelites found him coming, they told him what happened. He started telling the story, they told him, come with us, God will save us. In another side, Judith coming down with 2 meek servants, she told him, God give me a plan, don't ask me what is, but I want you only to do something. Only pray. Only pray. And this like we learned in the youth meeting last week or week before, the temptation teaches us to pray. Because the most important, the temptation happen, give people to pray more and come closer to God more. So she told him, I want you to pray and let me do my job. She take a small bag with some food for her fasting food, and she went out of the city of Jerusalem. She went out. The soldier of the army enemy saw her. They took her to their leader. She was very pretty. The leader, he told her, why are you coming here? She told him, listen, we nearly have no more water. My people, they will decide to kill the animal and drink their blood. And when they drink the blood, that God will get upset from them, because that we're not allowed to do in our law like this. So God will deliver my people to your hand even without someone can get killed. I will pray to my God every day. I fast all day, and at night I go out with my 2 servants to pray to our God, and I eat my fasting food. And when the right time, I will tell you, come and take over the city, so no one can get killed from your people, and no one can get killed from my people. The head of the army was happy with the idea. He told her, I leave a small tent for you. You can pray, you do whatever, and you got about whatever you pray, you eat, and come tell me when we can get to take to this city. Every day she pray in the morning. At night she come out with her 2 servants, take some bread, eat, go back, pray, and continue. One night they have a celebration, this enemy or the army of the enemy. The king starts to drink. You know, these people, they don't know God. He told them, this the pretty lady, bring her. I want her in my tent this night. He would drink, the book said he would drink like never drink in his life like this. Judith, she come to his room, she found him very drunk. Imagine her family and her country future in her hand to kill this person. They didn't do anything wrong. These are the people coming to kill them. So she allowed to defeat herself and her country, or defend her country. So what she did, as you see in this picture, she get his sword, the king's sword, and she was praying God the stringed hair, and she cut his neck. She took his neck and she tied it out with mosquito net in his bed, and she put in her bag, and she coming out as usual like she prayed. So all the army expecting her as usual go pray and eat. But instead she come back, she back to her camp. She knocked the door, they opened for her, she shows him the head of Alifana, the head of the army. Everyone was happy. She said, tomorrow morning I want you, all our army just go to take over them. So in the morning they put the head of this soldier in the top of the fence, and all the camp come after the enemy camp. When they saw him coming, they tried to wake him up, They found him still sleeping. They opened the door, they found him without his head, he gone, and they said, a lady from Hebrew people is changing the history of Babylon. After they took over the camp, these people left and ran. She come back and all the city was praying. It was a beautiful prayer in the last 2 chapters. What we learn from this story as a servant, number 1, you have to know that temptation makes us closer to God to pray more. Number 2, we never give God time to tell him, God, I give you 1 month to work or 1 week to work. If you didn't do this, I will go to this or I have to do this. No. If you have something, put in God's hands and tell him, God, see the better for me. I applied for a nice job. God, it's better for me, let me have it. But God, please give it to me. And I thought, God, I want this job. I want this. No, you pray, ask him, and he sees the better for you. Last one, very important. The prayer after God, he gets you what you ask him for. A nice story, one of the priests, he was telling this story. You know, in the HEC exam, after gone, in Egypt, they're waiting for results to come tomorrow. You know, HEC in Egypt, like life or death. Not like here, if you didn't pass, you still can go uni. If you didn't do this, still you can go after a year, whatever. Not serious like Egypt. So he said, before the results, one day, the church, we said, we make a prayer for the result tomorrow. He said, I found the church like Good Friday. Good Friday is that the most day people in the church. He said, everyone pray, God, my future, God, the church full. And Abuna, I told them, please, after the result, just come tomorrow, so we thank God for what you got. Abuna, I said, in that time, I have confession. So I was giving confession, I forgot. Abuna said, I forgot. I told them to come to pray or anything. I found before I finished confession, all the men coming. Abuna, will the prayer meeting finish? Abuna, I told them, what prayer meeting? He said, after the HEC result. Abuna, he said, I remember, he told them, what your son get? He said, about 75%, I'm coming to thank God. He said, the only person come. This person, where is the rest? The result to come out, forget about to thank God. Very important. We have a lot of problem we put in the altar, but how many people they put in the altar? Thank God my son come back. Thank God for my result. Thank God for my marriage, or thank God for my wage. Thank God for all this. How many times we see it? Hardly we count. So it's very important, the prayer before and after. So during the temptation and after the temptation, we never give God time, and we tell him, God, please, if you not work right, there's a nice miracle happened with St. George. Some people, they vow to St. George, if this happen, I will get you a lamb. Some people, simple people in Egypt, they offer lamb, They can bring him alive to the monastery, and they can sell it, they can kill it, they do whatever. So these people, they give out God 1 week to work. They have a court case, they never having anything. So after second week, they said, Margaret, if you didn't work, I go to see Abu Sufyan. In the week of Abu Sufyan, they win the court case. So they took the lamb and they sent it to Abu Sufyan monastery. The lady, she looking after the kitchen. Next day, she found the lamb half. She ran to the head of the monastery. She told the head of monastery, she said, listen, I found this lamb in half. What happened? She told her, wait, I need to pray to see what happened. So she was praying. St. George, he told her, listen, I was working all this week to solve this problem, and after he gave the lamb to Abu Sufyan. So I take half, and he take half. Okay? So please, do not give God time. Please, when we have temptation, the temptation is called for prayer, and the prayer after the temptation. Any question about Book of Judith? I conclude it in just 10 or 15 minutes, but tell you the story in 10, 15 minutes, but you have the books, you got 16 chapters, you can have it and read it. This book written by English and Arabic. I get book, if you have it before, it is the same one, there's nothing changed. Just every time you just take one. And the Arabic you are very important. I told you about the English wrote about one of these books in second canonical books. But, every family take one copy. If you not have enough, St. George can make copy. I got you some of the CD, half of them to be, half of Judith. You can have copy of these two. You can keep it. Okay, just one family, one per time. So, any question? Thank you very much for having me. I want you just in this. I'm not coming next month. It's going to be Palm Sunday, so we'll not have meeting. I want you in this time, please, read Book of Tobit and Judith. When I come back, I will ask again questions. Okay? So we need you to study this stuff very well. Glory be to God forever and ever. Amen.